very much. I am an executive coach. I spend my days sitting on the phone talking to people all over the country, and I'm one of those coaches that does it mostly by phone. And so it's really nice to be able to get out and get into an interactive session. When you start talking about DISC, I'm a high D, high I. I talk a lot to business groups, and in the last year it's been a real challenge for most of those business groups for pretty obvious reasons. And especially some of my clients do a lot of business in the automotive business, or perhaps in home construction or in construction overall. And boy, they're just getting beat up. And part of it, I really believe, part of it I really believe is the attitude that we have. It's the way that we listen to everything that's going on. I was telling somebody at breakfast this morning, I quit listening to the news. I've got Sirius Radio, and I've got 4 comedy channels, and that's all I listen to. I listen to comedy all day long. I laugh my head off. And then I listen to the news, and I still laugh my head off, but for different reasons, but I just don't listen to the news. It's how we've talked ourselves into feeling bad. And we do it over and over. The news media really does a nice job of helping us feel bad from time to time, from day to day, from week to week, from month to month. Because what do they tell you? They don't tell you all the great uplifting things. What do you hear? You hear nothing but bad news. You know, it's kind of like the story that I always remember my father telling me. I grew up in Chicago. And I know there's a couple people here that either live in Chicago or grew up in Chicago. And if you know anything about Chicago, you know they have the Chicago-style hot dog. How many of you had a Chicago-style hot dog? And they're incredible, aren't they? I mean, there's just nothing like them anywhere on the face of the earth. You've never seen that color green before that you're actually willing to put in your mouth, right? The relish is so green. And there was a guy up on the north side, up on Irving Park Road, who started off a little push cart, and he grew his business, and pretty soon he had a big place that he bought. And then he had a big sign out there with all these lights and everything, and he always gave the best. I mean, if you've never had a Chicago-style hot dog, the best ones are the ones that have the bright green relish and the strip of mustard, and then they have a salad on top of it. It's a big strip of pickle and tomato and cucumber and celery salt and everything else. I mean, it's just incredible. And he had the best. And he always had the freshest buns and Vienna beef hot dogs. It was really incredible. And his business grew. And he became famous. Well, he had a son. And like most fathers who want to see their sons do better than they did, he sent his son to college. It was the first kid out of the family that had ever gone to college. And his son went and he studied economics. And so he finished up his 4-year degree, and he came back and he said, "Dad, you know, haven't you been listening to the news? You know, times are really tough." His dad said, "No, I hadn't heard that." He said, "Because business is pretty good." He said, "No, Dad, times are tough, man. You know that big sign you got out on Irving Park? We need to cut costs. You got to start unscrewing some of the light bulbs because you know, times are tough." So his dad unscrewed some of the light bulbs because, you know, his son's a pretty smart guy. And he said, "You know, Dad, all that relish you've been putting on, you got to cut back by a teaspoon or something like that." And so he did. He said, "You know, because my son's so smart." So what do you think happened? Times were tough. His business started going down. He participated in the recession. Isn't that something? My son, he's so smart. See, we talk ourselves into things all the time. I love the comment about